Notice of a public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene an executive session and a regular meeting on Tuesday, September 4th, 2012, at 5:50 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Executive session. Consultant with an attorney regarding real estate acquisitions pursuant to Sections 551071 and 551072 of the Texas Government Code.
Mayor Pro Tem, we've been advised by Mr. John Chosey that there's no need for the executive session, so I'll move that we strike and then we wait until 6 o'clock for the regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna go into recess.
Till 6 o'clock.
Okay, Grisel, that's after 6. Can we get started?
Yes. The Pledge of Allegiance.
Dagoberto, can you lead us off?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor of Texas.
Flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
The invocation.
Okay, so the invocation is gonna be by Pastor Brad
Burks.
Yes.
Let us pray. Father God, first of all, we come to you in the name of Jesus Christ to thank you for your love, your grace, and your mercy. Lord, I thank you for the wonderful opportunities that you have given this city. We thank you for the possibility of SpaceX and other economic opportunities. Lord, I ask you to lead and guide them, lead and guide each of our leaders here. Lord, let the outcome of this meeting here today be to the benefit of the people of Brownsville and for your glory. Lord, I ask you to lead and guide each one of them today with your discernment, with your direction. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. So, since there was no executive session, I guess there's no action needed to be taken?
Correct.
Okay. Next we have the mayor's report, and since he's not here, you want to move on? Any
I just have
commissioners?
a few words. This morning I met with a group of individuals, with Dr. Gowan. Also, the mayor accepted, a couple of weeks ago, he accepted a challenge. It's called the Healthy Community Challenge, and it's mainly sponsored by HEB, although it does have a lot of sponsors. And this is a challenge where we take on another city of a comparable size population-wise, and we start logging all our healthy activities, community activities, and there are certain points we get for the different activities we do, and we log in. What we're getting ready to do is first of all get the mayor and the commission involved. We're going to get schools, the public schools, and also the university, businesses, agencies, and community organizations, and most importantly, the individuals, which are you. So I urge everyone to please log on to hebcommunitychallenge.com and create your own profile. It takes about 2 minutes to do, and every day you can just put in an entry, the statement, I ate an apple today, or I jogged a mile, and all of that counts toward our success in this challenge. Now we don't get a monetary prize, but I think the real prize or the real benefit is in our health, and it creates awareness because you start counting your calories, you start paying attention to how much exercise you do. So that's where we really win. And like I said, just log into that website, and we'll keep you posted on the progress of the challenge. We're going to get a little bit more organized and then come back to you. But you can go ahead and get started if you'd wish. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Commissioner Villarreal. Next, we have our presentation for Employee of the Month.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, please help me welcome our Employee of the Month for September, Adalberto Guzman. And of course, Adalberto is known to all of you because he's always with us when we are having to record or do some features for our channel. He has been with the city since 2006. In 2009, he was given the task of being the city web author. Has done very well in that. And if you see a lot of the designs and artwork throughout the library, whether it's for our new public computer center or the other facilities that we have recently taken or purchased or are working from, the Cueto building, for example, he is a big asset in helping us with that. So we compliment him and thank him for all the work he's done. He's also very thorough in helping teach a lot of the new employees that we have into the system, and also with the patrons that visit the library. He's very helpful with them learning the computer system and our technology. So as Employee of the Month for September, he is, of course, eligible for the Employee of the Year at our banquet in December. For now, he'll get a pin, a watch. Of course, he's always on time for all the events. So that'll just be to decorate your wrist. And the plaque for the Employee of the Month for September. Adalberto Guzman, thank you for all you do for us.
I don't know what to say other than thank you very much. I mean, all I can say is I do what I do because I enjoy what I do, and you know, always with a goal of doing a good job. So I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. He's the one that did our portraits, and yes, he's very good at Photoshop because mine looks great. So next we have the consent.
Item 4, consent agenda items, items A through E.
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved.
Boards and commissions, number 5, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint 2 members to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board Committee.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, as you can see, we have our Parks Board consisting of 7 members. We have 2 that would like to be reappointed. That is Leo Rosales and Medi Hagee. And like to, I'd request that they be reappointed. Perfect attendance, always working on something. We just recently appointed 2 new board members, and that is Jerry Hatley and Anissa Gonzalez. We like to keep a mix of former or previous board members and new board members because there's always new issues coming up and they pretty much educate each other. So that's my recommendation.
I had a question on this. The attendance on this one, who is attending and who is not attending?
Everybody there attends. The only one is number 3, Mr. Hoskins. The board, if we can have our next meeting because we've had a problem getting quorums, the next board, they wanted to address that issue. So that's where it stands at this point. So right now, if we can get these 2, I can have pretty much a quorum all the time.
Okay,
So what does the E and F mean under attendance?
I didn't create that.
Excellent. On the
Excellent
bottom,
and
it
fair.
has the key.
Oh, there it is.
They're
Sorry.
all pretty, it's Medi Hagee. It's fair because the last couple times we had issues about being appointed.
Okay.
This has been going on since like February that we've been
Okay.
trying to get this. The 2 recent ones helped really, they're excellent.
Yeah, it's just-
Yeah, I see it now.
I want to reappoint Leo Rosales.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, they're reappointed. Thank you.
And
Well, that
Medi
was
Hagee-
for
There's
Leo
another?
Rosales.
Okay. so-
And you're saying on the Mary Hagee, because I see that there's an F, and then the other one that you're saying that you're having problems with attendance is Hoskins?
Yes,
And so, you are going to be asking us to address that, or you're gonna
No,
address
we-
it in,
Commissioner, our board, our Parks Board will address it at the next meeting because we haven't been able to have a quorum to hold the meetings, but the last time we had spoken was about the attendance problem with one of the commissioners or the board members. So if we can have a quorum, then they're going to address that. The last, Medes had a, well, it says a F for fair. I think it was because of the last meeting we had. It was just one meeting that she missed.
I guess my
There's-
concern is if you're going to be addressing it with Hoskins, and how many absences does each have?
I think hers is one or two, his is probably 8. I'm not for sure on that one.
Well, there's a policy for boards. I mean, if it becomes an issue, you can always come back and appoint someone else.
Right, we just haven't had a commission meeting or a board meeting because we haven't had a quorum because of the lack of,
I
the
think you
two,
should,
number 1 and 4, Mr. Hatley and Ms. Gonzalez just recently were able to attend, and we actually had our first quorum in a while. So those
Okay,
were one of the issues
so-
that were brought up.
So with the 2 new appointments, you have a quorum. I just want to make sure that if they're in attendance and the attendance records that you're providing to us reflect their attendance
Right.
at the meetings. My concern is that if you hadn't had a quorum, you hadn't brought it before us.
We had 4, we asked for Ms. Hagee and Mr. Rosales since probably February, March. It was tabled, it was continued to be tabled. And by that time, 2 other ones came open, and that's where Ms. Gonzalez and Mr. Hatley came in, and it was able to have us a quorum. We only had 4 present. Had they not have been put on the commission or the board, we still wouldn't have had a quorum until recently. We just had 4. That was
Okay,
all that
so
was
what is the policy if in the future, you don't get a quorum? You're just gonna continue to do business without a board?
We can't, well, the
Or
board
you
is
bring
just
it
more of
before
a,
us? That's my worry, that it wasn't brought before the commission and you were obviously not having a quorum.
because the issue about appointing people had kept getting tabled by the commission. So we couldn't have a quorum until it was off, until it got approved. We just recently got a rash of applicants.
it's an advisory board. It doesn't, the Parks Department continues to function even if they don't meet. Not that it's not important, it is, but with respect to business that wasn't conducted, I don't believe that was true.
I don't have any.
My question, Chris, is that if there's a question about attendance, that scale makes it look as if Mr. Hoskins and Ms. Hagee are on the same page, and
I
you're
agree.
saying they're not, that Ms. Hagee attends more often, so you should change your scale.
And that form I don't have, so I don't know if that was part of the packet that was given to you. I don't have that in my packet. No, I do not
Chris,
have that.
is Mary the young lady that worked a lot on Montebella?
Yes,
the park?
and others, not just the Montebello Park, but the trails.
Mhm.
And again, I have the forms here, and it just said it's eligible for reappointment.
Well, I move to reappoint Ms. Hagee.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
You have your
And
appointment.
I will definitely address this issue with the Commissioner Vasquez
And
had said.
report back to her, yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Public hearings, number 6, second public hearing to discuss the 2012 ad valorem tax rate fiscal year 2013 of .721129 per $100 valuation, which is 4.57% of the effective rate of .689621 per $100 valuation.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Commission, this is our second public hearing regarding the tax rates for the coming budget year, which is 2013. And this is something that we have covered previously, but again, it's a second public hearing, so we're going to cover it again. If the city adopts the effective tax rate of 689621, the proposed 2013 general fund budget would have a shortfall of $281,000. Because we have made some changes that I will discuss later, this deficit number will now be 455,387. If the city maintains the current tax rate of 70 cents, the proposed 2013 general fund budget would be balanced with a 261,468. However, we have made some changes since our last meeting, and those excess funds have been reduced to 87,890. If the city adopts the rollback rate of 72 cents, the general fund budget will have excess funds of 1,274,185, but because we have made some changes, that surplus or that excess have been reduced to 1,100,617. Again, this is if we adopt or the city commission adopts the rollback rate. There were some changes since our last meeting, and these are the changes that would, if we would maintain the same, the 68.9621 or the effective tax rate, that means that our deficit would be 455,387. We have made some changes from the last meeting that we had with you. We had 2 positions that were transferred to the Fund 44 from the general fund, so that gave the general fund extra $53,033. We are changing because we're including an additional expenditure that was not there before. That's property rentals for the East Madison of $30,000 annually. There's also an administrative tech 1, $28,973 for the animal control. And then there's also a customer service specialist for the Office of Emergency Management of $34,760. So there are some changes of $93,733. So now if we approve the effective rate, we'll have a deficit of 281,809. Later, we went ahead and actually, these are all changes. We put in the assistant city manager, funding for that. Also a position for the city commission and the mayor, liaison officer for 40,000. So that means that with this additional expenses, the deficit now in the,
Tony,
if we would
Tony.
approve,
Pete, what is a mayor city commission liaison?
that's, I guess, a position that the mayor had requested to assist him with some of the city business.
Okay, I don't know if anybody's spoken to the mayor about it. I surely hadn't. And that's fairly new. And that's budgeted?
That's included in the budget now. Now, remember, we do have another public hearing on the budget when it gets finalized, which is September the 17th. These are some of the changes that have occurred since the budget was filed at the city secretary's office.
I have another question. The one for the assistant city manager, that's an additional position?
That's right. The answer is yes. All of these are additions from the previous budget that was filed with the city secretary's office.
I believe there has been, that's not actually a new position, if I'm not mistaken.
It had not been funded
It wasn't
before.
funded, but it was there.
It's an organizational chart, but it has not been filled in. So that's, since it's been there, we have not filled it in the last few years, so.
In other
think
words, the funds were frozen, never appropriated.
That position has been discussed in meetings.
Yeah, no, I know about that one, but I was,
Well, this is something that the money had not been appropriated. Now the money is appropriated. The position was there before, but no funding was placed.
Charlie, I hate to go back to the same thing, but I thought that you and your staff are our liaisons. If the commission needs to be advised about something, I've been under the assumption that it's always been you and your staff.
It's more, well, you can answer,
Well,
Charlie.
we were asked to do a study on this. We've been talking to many municipalities that do have this. The idea is to have someone close that has more time to meet with the commission, possibly for projects and things like that, being able to find financial resources for any and all projects that you may have, and just work with you, and then they would return to us, so we can have time to sit down and address many of the, number one, assure that the commission is informed of many of the issues that are occurring here, and make sure that you all know about these things. but also to work on projects and things like that. The possibility of them, multitude of responsibilities such as preparing detailed paperwork for y'all, speeches, anything that might come up, we'll be able to address that promptly.
Does this person answer to you or to the commission?
Well, they'll be working with the mayor and the commission, but eventually they'll respond to me, yes.
They'll be placed in the organizational chart?
Yes.
Where would they be based out of? Is that at the Cueto building or is that here?
Well, that's yet to come as far as the availability, office space and things like that, but.
Okay, I'll speak to the mayor about it, but
Mhm.
I definitely think that this is something that, in my opinion, should come up to the city commission for a vote, if there's gonna be a liaison to the commission. I think that the
Well,
commission should have a voice.
in essence, the budget is presented to you, and you eventually approve it, so,
Yeah.
but we want to make sure that you understand the things we're working on.
I guess I hadn't seen this before, so I'm sorry, I had been out because of my illness, but that's something, I don't know. I'll bring it up with the mayor.
I would suggest you bring it up with the commission as well. I mean, talk to everyone, so we're all on the same page. Thanks.
If we go with we maintain the same tax rate that we currently have, which is 70 cents, then our, I guess, excess funds, because of the changes that we've done, will move from 302,168 to 87,890. If the city commission adopts the same tax rate that we currently have. If the city commission adopts the rollback rate, then the excess funds would go from 1,314,695 to 1,106,17. $1,106,617. Again, we always look at reserves. What does it do to our reserves? If we maintain the effective rate of 68.9621, the unassigned fund balance reserve would be 8.71. With the 70 cents, it's 9.3. With the 72, it's 10.4. Our policy has a percentage of 15%. So we are below, based on these estimates, we are below what the policy that was approved by the commission last year, which was 15%. This is something that was covered last time. If we maintain, or if the city commission adopts the effective rate, then there is a decrease from the current rate of 1.57%. These are the various rates that we've had the last 10 years. Again, this is something I just covered. If we maintain if the city commission approves the effective rate, then we'll have a deficit of 455,387. If the city commission adopts in other words, the proposed rate that we have right now, which is the 70 cents, maintaining the same rate that we have from the prior year, obviously the increase to the tax rate is 0, but an increase between the effective rate and the proposed rate is an increase of 1.59%. Again, these are the amounts that we would have at the end of the year if we maintain 70 cents of 87,890. And this is something, by the way, that we will be publicizing in the newspaper in the next week or so, that we will have a public hearing on the 17th, and we're going with a maximum amount of 4.57%. So the City Commission has a decision to make between now and September 17th, when the tax rate gets adopted and the budget gets adopted on the 17th. And that time you will decide as to what tax rate you will be adopting, either the 68, the 70, or the 72. So the publication will be based on this 4.57% increase, which is 2.93% above the current rate of 70 cents, 613. again, the fund balance would be 1 million excess, 1,100,617 if we adopt the rollback rate. These are some of the, based on how much more an increase we would have if we go above the effective rate. If we go above the effective rate, we maintain the same rate as the prior year. It's a 1.59%, and it goes all the way up to the rollback rate of 4.57%. It's based on 50-cent increments. This is how much we'll generate based on the percentages of the tax rates, all the way from the beginning with the effective rate all the way to the rollback rate. Same thing here. This is what's left on the other schedule is the levy that's frozen for those over 65 if you maintain a homestead. Because of the law that, or ordinance that was passed 2007 by the City Commission, if we adopt the effective tax rate, that means that the city would lose, and it's already in place. So it's 504,527 because the freeze is already in place, and this is how much money the city will not get because of the freeze for those over 65, because their property taxes remain frozen since '07, unless that property had improvements added to the structure. If we adopt the current rate, then we lose. We are like 559,313. Again, these are tax levies that are frozen for those over 65. And of course, if we adopt a higher tax rate of the rollback rate, then that levy lost because of the freeze is 661,570. This schedule shows you if we adopt certain tax rates. The taxable value of a residence last year was $81,050. This year it's $82,415. So if we adopt a tax rate at a penny above, you'll pay $824. If you go to the current rate, it's $906. If you adopt 2 pennies, it's $1649, and then the other 3, $24.72, and the highest, if the rollback rate is adopted, the highest tax rate, annual tax rate, that on the average, which is $82,415, that would be the average residential homestead. It would be paying $25.97 a year more. The rest is, this is more or less what the budget has overall. We include all the funds, excluding transfers. These are all the budget for the revenues of 126,967 million, 126,062,729 for the expenditures. Again, the proposed 2013 budget includes a 3% cost of living adjustment for all police and fire department collective bargaining employees. Does not include COLA for civilian employees. And again, which I discussed earlier about the 2007 freeze on homesteads for those people over 65. The Brownsville Museum of Fine Arts has requested an additional $75,000. If it is granted, it will be charged to the general fund. Right now, we don't have this additional request included in our general fund budget. One of the questions came up last week: how much money have we actually gone and reduced? We have reduced line item expenditures by $290,202 from various departments. One of the areas that we need to look at very closely, obviously, is the utility usage, and because that has an impact on our cash transfer. If we are able to keep an eye on our utility usage, maintain a low utility usage, that means that it's up to more cash transfer from the PUB based on the formula. Right now for 2013, assuming that we maintain the same utility usage, we will receive approximately $7,035,000 in cash, and the other ones will be utility usage. Remember, we must remember that, that the lower, the more that we reduce in utility usage, the more we get in cash transfers from the PUB.
Is there anything that we have set up or that we're looking into to start our buildings and whatnot?
Yeah, we've done some work at the Plaza Building, and we
Okay.
see some tremendous savings because of the green energy that went into that building. We're also looking at this building also, and we have seen some reductions in our utility usage. Right now, we're looking at the zoo, and the PUB is looking at it. Apparently, there was, and they're looking into it, very investigating, because there was an increase, quite a bit of increase in the water and wastewater usage. But we're looking at it right now. Hopefully, we can find out what the problem is. But that's area that we certainly look every month. We bring a report to you every quarter when we present the financial reports to you. So that's something we look at very closely.
I believe
But is there-
we had an auditor also, right? Looking at the electrical usage?
Right.
Is there a plan that we have that we're doing so that we can look into other buildings mimicking what we did at the levy building for the,
Narrative form, because we are working on various projects that we have received via the grants, for example, the grants department, streetlights, for example, and we've gotten to more modernized streetlights, things like that. It's difficult to identify the exact savings on streetlights because we have so many, but we're trying to get all that together for you. Also, what Pete's mentioning is some of the projects that we've done, La City Plaza and here, modernizing our more efficient air conditioning systems and things like that throughout the city. So we do anticipate a big savings in that area. That we're working with the utilities and our grants department to form that report out for you as we near the end of the year.
because I think it's important to have that plan laid out. That way we can know where we're spending and
Right.
Where
The
we're
grant
going.
identifies to us what specific locations we can work at. So we do know where to work at and what parts, where to address the efficiencies. So, and we continue to find other areas to improve. So we have the plan because we know exactly what the grant is detailing we work at. So we'll address all that in a narrative for you, so you can see how the difference is in from last year to this.
I think it's important that we look into that and start, showing the public what is working, what's not working, the types of different energies and whatnot that we're using, because PUB is not always the answer, and I think we need to start as a city going into that and exploring that and showing the city that, because we do kind of set the standard and the bar, and I think that's something that we should start looking into.
We actually asked for that a little over a year ago, and I believe that's what Charlie's talking about. They did begin that.
Just making sure that we're going through that.
Going back to the Plaza building, that building used to cost us around $120,000 in utilities every year. We're below $100,000. We're close to 100, but a lot less than what we had before. So that was a huge decrease in the utility bill. One of the areas, obviously, that we monitor regularly on a monthly basis is our sales tax. Sales tax is very important to us because it is the #1 revenue source in the general fund. And right now we're about 2.93%. So if you look at as an economic indicator as far as how we're doing, sales tax is a big economic indicator. So 2.93% is better, but it's not as good as we used to have when we were at double digits at one time. So again, sales tax, we look at it on a monthly basis. The other area that we are hoping that will continue is the traffic at the Veterans Bridge. We've seen some increases in commercial traffic, and we are hoping that number will continue to be strong, and because we depend on those revenues from our Veterans Bridge. We're at our budget. If you look at our budget, we have a budget for $1,700,000. So for next year. We're hoping to see that number. Hopefully we'll reach that number. I bring this up because these are some of the key revenue sources besides property tax. Again, this is something that we're already covered before, just to repeat on the fund balances. Again, very important that we maintain a nice reserve. We will be issuing debt the following year, fiscal year, and that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at very closely. When we issue debt, make sure that we have enough funding to pay for that debt. This is just one of the areas that we look at also is what percentage of personnel is in the general fund. Last year we had, meaning this current year, 2012, 71.5%. We look at next year, we're at 73%. Most cities, general fund show around the same percentage that we're showing right now, about 73, in the 70% range. So we're within normal. Again, because we are a service oriented. That's our service, is personnel. Again, last year we had a stronger fund balance than what we anticipate coming for the new year. Last year we had a 12.47% of reserve on the unassigned fund balance. Again, it'd be nice if we can hit the 15%. Last year we decreased our unassigned fund balance by 880,017. That's between 2010 and 2011. We are going to see another decrease in 2012. We don't know the numbers yet, but we will get these numbers to you probably in early November when our books are closed. Another area something we covered last week is also the unexpected costs that come to us, and mainly the hurricanes. In 2008, we saw increases of $2,633,807. We don't get reimbursed for all our expenses. We only got reimbursed $1,422,000. We do expect to receive, hopefully soon, an additional $214,429.50. Now this is a 2008 storm, and we're finally finalizing some of our reimbursements from the government. Hopefully we can get $214,000 that was not previously approved. Again, very important for us to maintain a strong reserves in our fund balance. The Convention and Tourism Fund, we are maintaining the same allocations for all the outside agencies. Nothing has changed. Our fund balance at the end of September 2013 estimated $141,088. Again, all of these agencies will maintain the same funding that they received in 2012. Community development is a grant or fund that's already been approved. Non-bonded debt, $11,663. Debt service, $3,531,935. Also, because we had maintained a nice fund balance in debt service, and debt service is the fund that we charge to pay all our bond payments, interest payments, and we were able to reduce for 2013 the debt service tax rate by 2 cents, and when we reduce the tax rate that is going to debt service, well, that goes to the general fund, and that obviously helps the general fund. But we have maintained a nice fund balance. What's coming up, and this is something that we've already agreed to, or the City Commission has agreed to, is the West Rail relocation, $2 million. These are COs that will come to you in the near future that you can approve. We've already gone through the West Rail relocation project, which is $2 million. There's a local share for the Texas Safe Shelter at the main library, $3 million. These are all local contributions. The airport hangar, 1,100,000. And of course, the recent purchase downtown of 2.3 million, the building. So without including any money for streets here, the amount is 8.4 million that we will be issuing in the near future. The landfill tipping fee, the fund balance is 538,889. Airport, the airport obviously gets subsidized by the general fund for any shortfalls that it occurs, and the majority of the transfer, 1,032,875, is related to the fire operations at the airport. That's where the majority of the cost is, and that's the reason why the general fund transfer money to the airport. Then we have the bridge fund. We're hoping that we can get 1,750,000 our share next year. The motor vehicle parking system, it's balanced barely. The operating fund at the transit system, there's a net loss of 4,144,000. The federal government, the Federal Transportation Administration, picks up 50%, 2,072,000. And then the rest is made up of various other sources, and that includes the state operating fund of a grant of 517,303, and then there's a general fund transfer of 864,884. And then there's other lease revenues that are included here, advertising, et cetera, that make up the rest for the 2,072,039 that the city must generate to cover the operations of the transit system. Obviously, when we look at miscellaneous positions, there's more needs, obviously, than resources. In every year, 2,669,595 that's not funded, that was requested. Capital outlay, a huge amount, 15,518,299 again. All requests, but now no funding. Special projects, same thing. This is a public hearing. This concludes my presentation, so I guess we can open it up.
Thanks. Is there anybody that has anything, any public comment?
Roberto Uresti. Yeah, Mr. Gonzalez, was there any money saved from last year's budget? What, did you save any money from last year's budget?
Remember what I said earlier, that we will not know until November of this year to tell you more or less how much money is being saved or how much money we overspent.
Okay. So if you do save some money, would that go to the general fund?
Any money that is not spent, yes, it stays in the general fund.
Okay. As far as the question I'm concerned about the assistant city manager's $133,328, how was he being paid right now?
Right now, that position is approved in the budget for 2012, but it doesn't have any funding. This 133,000 includes all the benefits. It's the total cost.
Okay, but is it an increase or a decrease on this position?
The position was approved last year for the 2012 budget, but there was no funding placed in. No appropriations was made. This year, 2013, as we move forward to 2013, money has been appropriated.
Okay, so how is he getting paid? That's my question.
There is no person.
No person there? It's, okay, that's gonna be another assistant. There will be how many people as assistant city managers? There will be 3? Okay, 3. That's what I need to know. I'd like to ask the pro tem and the city commissioners to, on issuing new debt, you have to, I think the $3 million for the new shelter needs to be not put up at all. Not by the library, no way. I think we're already going to new bounds in which there's problems in the other cities that are going into those shelters. They're having problems, okay? And I think the cost is way too much. I think something is wrong here in Brownsville, we pay too much. If you want to make money, I don't know why, the city doesn't invest some of this $3 million into making electricity by wind power the city needs to go into a system in which they can make money, not lose money. And that's what's going on. Some of the projects that you want to help, yeah, they're great. But I think you need to cut down those costs now. Now, we are paying, my property went down. The value went down, $360, okay? I went down there to talk to those people because they didn't send me a letter. And they told me my property devalued, $360, so I'm gonna save $2.20, okay? The current tax rate is 70%, I said, yes. As far as I'm concerned, let's keep it that way. I know that we can cut corners, and I heard you, Mayor Pro Tem, saying something about going through every building, cutting down electricity use, cutting down everything. This building itself, so much electricity, and it's yet vacant. I look at it, it's vacant. This room is not used at all. Look at this amount of space in here. My whole house can fit in here. 2 of my houses can fit in here. You know, so I look at the waste that's going on. And if you'd like to know, I only spent $126.30 on utility, and I paid it today. I do cut down everything at my house. Okay, so I'm asking you, keep it the rate. It's hard on everybody. It's getting worse. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mr. Barrera, Dagoberto Barrera. I'm not too sharp on statistics. And of course, Mr. Gonzalez gave us a lot of statistics. In fact, I was going to get a doctorate degree, but statistics is not my field and I couldn't pass it. Anyway, my problem is don't raise taxes. We're up to our necks in taxes. We pay so many taxes all over the place, and we're right now on a very recession, and we can't afford. You got to learn to live within your means. You know, it's tough to live right now. Not for me, because I'm real tight. I save my money. I don't live beyond my means. And I save my money when the rainy day comes, and the rainy day is already here. So please don't raise our taxes. I can't figure out what Mr. Gonzalez put up in the screen over there because math-wise, I'm not very sharp at that. So please don't raise taxes. Whatever it is, stay within your means and cut as much as you can. See if we can make it for next year. If not, we're going to have troubles. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Barrera. I assure you, Pete is very tight with the money to us. Thank you. Okay, so no more public comment? Do I have a
Will we
motion?
continue to the next meeting?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay.
Number 7, public hearing and action on first reading on ordinance number 2012-933 N to amend the civil service classification plan.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, we're here before reluctantly asking that we eliminate the rank of Fire Marshal off the Code of Ordinances and to authorize as an assignment the jump functions of Fire Marshal. Basically, it's eliminating the Fire Marshal position from the Civil Service Code and allowing us to have another officer to do those jump functions.
Do you have to,
Currently, let me give you a little history. Currently, the position of Fire Marshal is standalone. We have offered 3 tests for that position. The first time we offered it to Assistant Chiefs, which is next in ranking them. Nobody signed up for it. We offered it one more rank down, which is to the captains with 2 years or less. 3 people signed up of it, and only 1 person showed up for the test. We need 2 at least under civil service rules to take it. We offered a 3rd time, and nobody signed up for it. So we're having a problem with people signing up for it. We've asked the civil service director to post it out again according to the same criteria that we have currently. I personally don't feel it right to lower it 3 ranks down. So that's the reason why we brought this to your attention, to see if you could help us out with this particular item. And I'll entertain any questions that you might have.
Go ahead. So what are you're recommending that we remove? The fire
rank-
marshal position? Does
Yeah.
that somehow affect our community? I mean, we need a fire marshal. Does that
no,
affect
ma'am.
safety?
No, ma'am, it would not affect your community or the safety-wise. Currently, I'm doing the position, I'm doing the job function of fire marshal. I am a certified fire inspector. So anything that the individuals get stuck with, I'm able to answer for them, or we research it together. All I'm asking is to be at least the captain's position. I took a poll around the cities here in the valley. All the positions are 3 ranks down, which is equivalent to our assistant chief, to be honest with you. I would entertain at least that position, if nothing else. That'd be okay with us.
Do you have to eliminate the fire marshal position instead of just creating the other position?
If I create another position, I would have 2 open positions. I would have to test for both positions. We would have to eliminate one to create the other one, basically.
Are other cities letting lieutenants test?
The other cities they're all at least the captains or above when they take the fire marshal examination.
No lieutenants?
No, sir. Not that I know of. It could be, but I didn't do that far down of research. What I did is how they stand ranked-wise, and most of them are below at least what is equivalent to our assistant chiefs.
Chief, I don't speak on behalf of the whole commission. My opinion is that you as a chief, get together with the union, get together with the city manager, come back, study if there are any cities that are allowing lieutenants to test. Okay, I don't think that this should have to fall on this body. I think that this is something that can be resolved through city manager, through yourself and the union. I don't think that this body should be the one to decide in an open session or in any session whether we eliminate or create any other position.
But to be honest, sir, the power is yours, according to the Texas legislators. You're the only one that can say yes or no to it. Civil service, well, I have no say-so on this. So, and Mr. Saucy can verify this for me. You are the governing body. The governing body is the only one that can say yes or no to it.
So, Chief, just to clarify in my mind, that you do have a fire marshal and you're serving as the second one?
No,
No.
I don't have a fire marshal. He retired in January.
Okay, so you are serving as the
So
fire
I'm taking those
marshal.
duties for now till I can find somebody to at least take the test.
Okay.
We have not lowered it down that'd be 3 ranks down, and I don't feel comfortable doing it, and that's just a personal preference.
And you said that one person did show up for the test.
Yes, sir, he did.
Did they pass?
He didn't take it.
He
You
didn't take it.
need at least 2 according
Oh,
to
okay.
the
That's the part I didn't
the rules.
Has this been advertised?
It cannot be advertised, it's within the department itself.
Oh, it has to be within the department?
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor, is there anything that you recommend? I mean, do we even have authority to do that?
However, at the same time, if there's other.
Could you lower your mic?
Okay, I think this body has the legal authority to make a decision as to classification, okay, and he's correct there. However, if there's other other options which might be better explored before coming back to this body, that may also be the case.
I would feel more comfortable if we get a little bit more background on it, and if legal can get on it also with you, so that you can provide us a better idea of what the different options are, so that we can make an informed decision at that time.
I mean-
Let me clarify, I think what the fire chief is trying to say is that there's no interest in the fire marshal's examination right now due to the retirement of Mr. Nunez, who served for many, many, many years, by the way. And he feels that he's not comfortable going lower than the captain's rank, so he wants to give an examination for an assistant chief or captain, and then make one of them the fire marshal. So, number one, we don't want to eliminate, and we should never eliminate the fire marshal's responsibilities. But I agree with you that we need to brainstorm this a little bit longer.
I think that's what this was doing, asking us to eliminate the fire marshal position.
Eliminate the fire
so-
marshals, give an examination for the assistant chiefs, for an assistant chief position or a captain's position, and then make one of them the fire marshal. That's what
Well,
he's
I don't think
saying.
we need to eliminate if you're asking us to, because you're asking us to eliminate, and then you're gonna move
Right.
somebody up to the fire marshal position. I think you need to look at this with legal and then give us a little bit more
Well,
background.
We'll do
so that-
that. We'll look at it. You're right, Commissioner.
It's an open,
Ju-
Public
Just to
hearing.
clarify something, what the difference is, the fire marshal position that is in, right now in the ordinance, it's a standalone. I cannot assign it to anybody. It has to be taken through civil service examination. If we remove it and put an officer there, just an officer position, any officer, whatever rank that you all decide, we would test for that rank, and then I would place that job function to that individual, as we do for our training officer, as we do for some of the other officers that we have. It's just making it easier for the chief to decide how to do it. It's very similar to what PD does for their job assignments for their lieutenants. One is in traffic, one is in CID, one is internal affairs. It's basically giving me the same courtesy to be able to do that.
Well, I would like to make a motion to table this item so that they can get a little bit more time to provide that background information.
before we make the motion to table, we have people, it's a public hearing, and I think there's people that want to speak on it on behalf of the fire department.
Mayor Pro Tem, Honorable Commissioners, Marco Longoria, Brownsville Firefighters Association. What the chief is bringing up to you is something that, something we don't really, we don't want to say we don't accept, we don't want. I think what the main thing here is doing it properly and doing it legally. Okay? First of all, the chief says that he, on a personal issue, on a personal thinking of his own, he doesn't like the lower ranks to apply for that position. Well, I'd like to have it kept that way on a personal issue. That's his own personal opinion. But there is plenty of lieutenants on the lower ranks that are willing to take that test, and we have experienced personnel in the lieutenant's division which have been under the fire marshal's office, and they are willing to test. Okay, that position is basically a position that requires a specialized kind of training, and we do agree with the chief in that sense that, yes, we need to have a strong officer in there, and yes, the lieutenants will do an excellent job just like anybody else. That's just a personal issue that he has that will not bring it down to a lower. Chief has asked the assistant chiefs and the captains to take it, and he has very few people sign up for the test, but there is a lower ranks that want to do that. He also mentioned that you have the authority to do so. Yes, you do, and Mr. Mark Saucy also agreed with him, but this also lies on the Civil Service Commission, because Civil Service law specifically says that they will approve the classified positions, and of course, this is done by ordinance also, which is you guys would have to do that. Okay, and I guess I agree with you all. I think there's a little bit more of a study and more to bring forward before we even move it to that. So I'd ask the Honorable Commission to, yes, table that, please. Thank you. Any questions?
No, anything else? Is there anybody else that wants to speak? Okay.
Motion to close public hearing.
Chief, I'm just gonna ask if you can give that research for me and find out if anybody else is using lieutenants?
Yes, sir, I'll get it.
That research for me, thank you.
Motion to
If
close
I may
public
comment, it's not just about if anybody else is doing this, what the law allows. Okay?
I think I would get together with legal
Yes.
and come up with what the different options are and the different scenarios so that we can get a better idea of what the overall picture and what we're legally allowed to do and how to proceed.
Definitely. Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Motion to table?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Public comments, Mr. Robert
We've got, action items.
Action
first.
items.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Action items.
Consideration and action on resolution number 2012-053 to accept grant number 3-48-0031-040-2012 from the Federal Aviation Administration for the Airport Improvement Program at the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport in the amount of $717,976.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Tetro and members of the City Commission. Our purpose for coming before you this evening is to request the City Commission consider and act on the resolution that was just read by the City Secretary. What the resolution does, it documents to the FAA that the City Commission supports and accepts this grant for improvements at the airport. The use of the grant funds will be as indicated, and I believe you have a copy of this in your packet, as well as the detailed descriptions of the projects. The first couple projects that you highlighted up there are largely administrative nature, had to do with federal regulations regarding DBE requirements and so on and so forth. The next project you see the small picture of has to do with the engineering work for a project that we anticipate having, in fact, have a fund reservation for in March to rebuild a combination of Taxiway Bravo as well as the West Ramp. Taxiway Bravo is the primary air carrier taxiway that goes from the primary runway up in front of the terminal. And this is also a ramp project in front of the Hunt Pan Am facilities that are in the process of being, redone, and they've done an excellent job on it. This does the asphalt work on the air cargo side. In addition, there is another project which is the funding for Phase 2 looking at the terminal. As you're probably aware and so forth, because of the increase in airline service that we've been able to obtain at the airport, we're pushing the capacity of the terminal substantially in terms of the number of people, all the way down to such things as the availability of bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. What this does is provides the funding necessary to do to do the analysis necessary for potential expansion of the terminal, so that we can accommodate the increased needs that we already have, plus some that we anticipate having in the future. So in summary, that's what these projects are designed to do. The ramp project is particularly important because we already have a fund reservation with the FAA for this for about $9 million to redo that ramp as well as Taxiway Bravo. And again, the increased use of the ramp as well as the taxiway it's important that we do things like this so that we maintain our ability to handle that traffic movement on the ramps, okay? I also have Manuel Alcocer, the chairman of the Airport Advisory Board, here with me. We'll be happy to address any questions.
Everything's in order, Mr. Brown? I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Larry,
Mr. Brown.
Larry, I want to congratulate you.
No.
Well, I attended Hunt Pan Am's customer appreciation dinner, and they said they have very good working relations with you, and I really appreciate that, because not only are they bringing more sales into our airport, but also more employment. They doubled their number of employees, and they're relatively well-paying technical jobs.
Yep.
So appreciate that. Thank you.
I will also note you both themselves as well as the Southwest Aviation FBO are doing particularly well. We've had about a 283% increase in GA traffic within the past couple of years, and that is why they are able to expand, create additional employment. It shows you that the airport that we have in this community is definitely an employment sector for the community.
It is.
And we look forward to more of that.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Next.
Item 10, consideration and action to authorize the city manager to sign a memorandum of understanding between the City of Brownsville and the Brownsville Metro and South Texas Independent School District to use B Metro facilities in Brownsville, Texas.
Mayor, members of the commission, Norma or her staff cannot be here at this time. They're stuck at the office, but this is basically an agreement just to have a co-op agreement with the neighboring cities to assist in the transportation and cooperative efforts with other neighboring cities, in this case, the Independent School District, South Texas Independent School District.
Charlie, when we do on the MOU, Are these services provided for free, or the
Well,
entities are
they,
billed?
they just follow the same basic, fees that anybody else would.
So they're billed?
It's just basically, they'll assist us in some things, we'll assist them.
Okay.
But I apologize, Norma could not be here to give more detail. If you're uncomfortable, we can table till she give you more
So,
specifics, or motion
Are
to
the
agree.
staff, is our city staff going to be used to coordinate the use of the facilities? Are they coming into the facilities without our staff being present?
Our staff and their staff will work together in joint efforts on any and all, projects that may occur.
Well, because I'm part of in there, it says that they're to provide the names of the people that are gonna be.
Yes, they'll provide the names of the people that we're gonna work with, but that's still, not, been given to us.
No, but what I'm asking is, are the people from South Texas ISD going to be allowed into the facility without us being present?
Which facility? Ours? No, they normally would not come to our facility unless we're having meetings or they're going to be working on projects with our people. But they won't be there or have office, unless they're designated office space that's detailed by Norma and her staff. Normally, they just don't come in there. There are security, purposes that disallow things like that there.
Move to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 11, consideration and action to award a term contract renewal for software maintenance and technical support for public safety information system for the Brownsville Police Department and the Brownsville Fire Department.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, we're asking you tonight to respectfully approve a term contract renewal for fiscal year 2013 for our Spillman system, communication system, the Police Department and Fire Department, for a total of $122,970 paid for through Fund 310-752 for Police and Fire.
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Good night.
Adjourned.